Welcome to Squared Away Life. My name is Camden Busey. I'm continuing today to bring to you chapters from my book, The Compounding Mind. If you'd like to get a copy of this book in PDF and EPUB format, please subscribe to my newsletter at squaredawaylife.com. Last time we looked at the introduction to my book. Today we're looking at part one, The Foundation, Why Capture Comes First. And chapter one here is on the daily capture. Now imagine the story of Sarah. Sarah sits in her car after a difficult meeting. We've all been there. Her mind is racing with insights about what went wrong and how to handle it differently next time. But she thinks to herself that she'll remember all of these things, right? But 3 weeks later, she's facing a similar situation. And she has this kind of vague sense of deja vu. But she can't recall the specific insights that she felt so clearly that day in the parking lot. Well, this is the cost of not capturing. Every day we have dozens of thoughts, insights, and observations that feel significant in the moment. We're sure we're going to remember them, but then they evaporate like the morning mist. Well, the daily review practice begins with a simple but powerful act, capturing these thoughts before they disappear. So where do you begin? Well, quite simply, in order to do a daily review, you need something to review. This entire practice begins with the presupposition that you are capturing your thoughts. Not occasionally, not when you feel like it, but as a consistent daily practice. It's a habit. The goal is to think out loud so that you can externalize your inner world into a form that can be retrieved, reviewed, and connected. Now, this isn't about perfect prose or profound insights. It's about getting your thoughts out of your head and into a system where they can compound in value. Your capture practice needs to include a few things. First, daily observations. What happened? What stood out? Second, the emotional weather. Like, how are you feeling? What's your energy level? What's going on inside? But then you should capture your decisions and your rationales. What choices did you make and why? You need to capture your questions and your wonderings. What are you curious about? You need to capture insights and connections. What patterns are you noticing? And then finally, try to capture your predictions and any hypotheses you have. What do you think will happen? Now, many people keep journals, but very few transform their journals into knowledge systems. The difference lies in how you capture and then what you do with those captures. Consider this progression. First, recording. That's what happened. Second, reflecting. That's what it means. Third, connecting. How it relates to other knowledge. Fourth, creating. What new insights emerge as a result. Now, when you capture a thought about a work project, for example, don't just record the task, capture why it matters, what approach you're taking, and what concerns you have. When you read something interesting, don't merely highlight significant quotations, but write your reaction, the questions that arise, and how that connects to other ideas that you've encountered. See, once you've established the habit of capturing and connecting your thoughts, you gain something unexpected, the ability to see patterns in your own thinking. You become not just a recorder of ideas, but an observer of how your mind works. And this is where the practice deepens. The next level of capture, though, moves beyond recording what you think to examining how you think. And this is where you assess and refine your judgment about the future. By capturing your predictions, like your gut feelings, your confident assumptions, those intuitions you have about various outcomes, you create a unique data set. It's unique to you. It's a record of your judgment in action. And then over time, these captured predictions become a mirror that reveals the invisible patterns in your own thinking, showing you where your intuition excels and where it misleads you. And this isn't about being right or wrong. It's about developing the self-awareness that comes from seeing your thinking process externalized, examined, and then refined over time. Well, here's a powerful addition to your capture practice. Record your predictions with confidence levels. When you believe a company will succeed, for example, or when you have a gut feeling about a decision, when you're certain about an outcome, just capture it with specifics. What exactly do you predict? What do you think is going to happen? Why do you believe this? How confident are you? Give it a number, 1 to 10. And then what evidence supports this? Now, down the road, when you review these predictions weeks, months, even years later, you'll develop a calibrated understanding of your own judgment. You'll learn where your intuition excels and where it needs refinement. It's going to help you transcend the moment and see yourself more objectively and realistically. This form of meta-learning, or learning about how you learn and think, is one of the most valuable outcomes of the daily review practice. So let's get it all squared away. The key principle here: your thoughts are valuable raw material that gains value over time through capture and review. So what's the simple action? Start today by writing one dated note about something that matters to you. And then have this mindset shift from "I'll remember this" to "I'll capture this." Thank you so much. This has been the Compounding Review on Squared Away Life. Again, you can get a copy for a limited time, a PDF and an EPUB copy of this book by subscribing to my email newsletter at squaredawaylife.com. We'll see you next time.